Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Joffrey Noodleeggs here today with the last movie in our feature creature movie week, and we're looking at the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. This is a HMV premium edition. It comes with slipcase, it comes with art cards, and it comes with the movie on Blu-ray and on DVD. So it's a really nice little set. This film came out in the 1950s, and it is a typical creature feature, and it's sort of like most of these creature features are very, very similar. This one is sort of like the film sort of starts where we see the army doing sort of like nuclear bomb sort of tests and atomic bomb tests. And we see them setting them all up, and we see like the explosion of this atomic bomb, and they're just doing these tests. And a lot of these films around this sort of time were like that. Even in Japan with the Godzilla films, they were all again based around this sort of like nuclear testing, because it was the unknown, wasn't it? And we see some of the soldiers in like the North Pole. This is where they're doing the tests. Testing for radiation and stuff like this and that, and we see that one of them sees this creature wandering around, and this is where we see our monster pretty much straight away. They don't waste time in this, seeing the actual monster, and he goes back and he's in like the state of shock and stuff like that, and they don't believe him. They said no one actually believes him that he's seen it. And he tries to convince them that he's seen this sort of prehistoric monster. And he goes speaking to a paleontologist, and they don't believe him either. And he goes looking through these sort of photographs and drawings of these old sort of like dinosaurs, because there's one woman, obviously the love interest, sort of like sort of not believes him, but she's interested in his story. And she shows him all these sort of photographs, and he sees one drawing that. He says, "Dad, that's the one that I've seen." And the paleontologist says, "Well, this one's been extinct for 100 million years, so unlikely." And then we cut to like a ship at the sea, and then that ship gets attacked by this monster. But I think the crew survive it, and so what's obviously happened is I think this creature's been like 20,000 fathoms under the water, and it's been disturbed and woken up by this nuclear testing, and it's woken it up, and it's now come back to life. Anyway, so the guy that survived, the soldier, now is on the hunt for these fishermen to verify his story that it's the same creature. And he meets one of them, and he says, "Yeah, that's the creature," and they point out the same photograph that he sort of showed. And so now some of the sort of paleontologists starting to believe him, that that this is real, and this is how the story goes along. But the army still don't really believe him. They send out a troop looking for this creature, and then the creature sort of like visions its way over towards New York, as you do. Because we've cut from the North Pole to New York, because that's where the hospital was, where this soldier was taken to. It was almost like this creature's following this soldier, really. And then the creature makes his way towards the main city, and we see him sort of like finally coming to land, and then we see all these people being sort of like killed and eaten by this sort of like rubber-looking dinosaur. And he's crushing all the cars and the buildings, and all this sort of wonderful stuff going on. And then obviously the army are trying to kill it and shooting bullets, and it's not working, and all this sort of thing. And then we see the prehistoric monster at the at the fairground, around the roller coaster, and he's sort of destroying the roller coaster. And they come up with this plan to sort of like fire this chemical in him, which will have reverse reaction on whatever chemicals radioactivity, because in his blood, when the dinosaur's been shot, in its blood it's been letting off radiation, so it's been affected by this nuclear test. So they're trying to shoot it with this chemical which has a adverse effect on it and would hopefully kill the dinosaur. So this is how the film sort of goes on, and it is just a little bit like a Godzilla film, really, but a bit more sort of like sort of like it's more American based, not like the Japanese style. Whereas Godzilla ended up being like a good guy, didn't he? And they looked for Godzilla to help kill all the other monsters that were around. But this one, he's just like on its own. So the Beast of 20,000 Fathoms. What do I think of the film? It's really cool. It's an amazing creature feature. It is one of my favourites from the creature feature era of the 1950s, along with Tarantula, Incredible Shrinking Man, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. From that sort of era, How to Make a Monster was really good. It came from outer space. It came from beneath the sea. These were all really cool films, really, really good. But this one sort of stood out because I saw it when I was young, and I was so into dinosaurs, and it was just fantastic. And in the later generations, in the sort of 60s and that, we got the Land That Time Forgot and all these sort of creature feature films, which were just as sort of like just as sort of cheesy as these, but it's that cheese is what makes these amazing and charming, because at the time they're probably quite terrifying, like King Kong. When people saw that, they must have been terrified of it, and this is the same. But you could see this showing at a drive-in, like on a late night, and people going into their drive-in and watching the cheesy sort of creature feature. And this is that kind of movie. The pluses of this film: the transfer looks really nice. It's really, really cool. It's another good Blu-ray release from HMV. The story is cool. It's very obvious, very cool. The acting's very obvious and very cool because it was all very similar, and all the sort of stars all looked the same. And there was always a love interest, and there was always like not being believed by the scientists, and then the scientists believing in the army getting them. All these sort of films were all so similar, but they were all amazing watch. And that's sort of like the horror genre. You look at slasher movies, you look at all the other ones, they're all kind of similar in a way. So the creature features is no real different. Minuses of this film: yet the creature does look a bit dated in it now. When you see it moving, you're thinking, okay. But Ray's done a great job on these effects. He's done so many films, from Jason and the Argonauts and all sorts of films, his special effects. So it's definitely worth checking out if you love the creature feature. I'm going to score this an excellent watch and give it an 8 out of 10. It's a really, really cool creature feature, and I highly recommend it if you're into your 1950s B movies. This is sort of like a classic, right up there with it. It's really, really cool. And it still holds up today for its fun factor. So that's my review, and that was my creature feature week. And I will be doing another one, but we're going to move forward from the 50s. And I might even do like jump, I don't know, maybe 30 years and do an 80s one or something like that, and move along a bit quicker. Because you could do one for each decade. I really could. Because the 70s we had Jaws and Piranha, all these sort of animal creature features, And so the 60s we still had really crazy films like The Land That Time Forgot, and some Hammer went through a phase of doing some sort of like prehistoric sort of creature feature movies. And we had loads of sort of things coming out of that, and in the 80s we had remakes of the 1950s, The Blob, and all these kind of creature feature films. So it is something that's such a big genre, like the slasher film. So, but it's nice to delve into now and again, and I sometimes really love delving into some of these old flicks. I go through phases, with the old flicks where I'll watch them, and then I won't watch them for quite a while. But when I go through a phase, I go through like a month when I just want to watch 1950s and 1940s films. And then I won't watch it for months, and I'll go back to my normal 80s and stuff like that. But It is great to delve back into these, and these I would highly recommend. All 3 films from this week. I'm sorry that the Incredible Shrinking Man video doesn't have any clips. I did put it up with clips, but it got blocked. So luckily I saved the video and I just put it up without the clips on it. So at least I've got that out for you. This is fantastic, and Tarantula. All 3 of them are worth checking out. Really, really cool. Where am I going next? Next is going to be just some normal reviews of films that I've got recently that I want to look at and review. I think next week I've got the Howling review coming up, and there's some movies that I want to sort of watch and get some reviews out. I'll do my best. I am on late shifts at the moment, so it's difficult this week. So next week I'm hoping to push some films out when I'm back on the early shifts. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully there'll be some top 10s and stuff coming your way. Until then, check out some other horror channels for me. Check out the Horror Geek and Man v Film, RS Designs, Horror Hands, of course. Check his channel out. Grumpy Andrews, Haunted House, Sarah of Horror, Cat Watches Horror Movies, I Am the Ice Lord. All amazing channels, guys. Please check them out and give them a bit of love and give me a bit of love. You know, don't by commenting down below and maybe leaving a like. I get quite a few views on my videos, but the likes still like 2, 3, 4 likes, and it's like it's had like about a couple of 100 views. It's like just if you like it, press the like button. It really helps us out a bit, because it knows I'm doing the right thing. It's not for me to get more viewers or it's just so I know I'm doing the right thing and putting the right content out for you. And the only way I can do that is by you letting me know that, yeah, you know, it's cool. I do try to keep my reviews and videos honest and to the point. I don't try to wishy-washy about big production or anything. It's just the way it is, and I hope you enjoy them anyway. Till next time, you look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.